Creative Art Classes with John-Marc. Today's lesson, how to shade in shapes. Hey, it's John-Marc and welcome to my series on teaching you how to draw a cartoon. Today we're going to learn how to do some shading and gradating. So what I have in front of you right now is on the top 5 square boxes, as you'll see, and then I have a sphere on the bottom left, in the center a cone, and then a cube I created. Well, you'll notice on the far left I have some arrows. Those arrows are indicating where the light is coming from, so the opposite side will be shaded in. So let's begin. All right, let's begin with the top left square. That's where we're going to be doing the gradation. So as you'll notice, I'm going to shade in, starting medium tone, and I'm going to be build upon this. This is going to be the darkest square out of them all. And don't worry if you go outside the box, because then you can come back and just simply take your eraser and erase it out. All right, I went one direction. Now I went to another direction. Now I'm coming back in the same direction the first time, going a little harder and putting more pressure on the pencil. I'm currently using like a number 2B lead. And I'm coming back a little harder. So this is just to give you a simple understanding of what gradating is all about. And in this case, I'm just going to be breaking it down to 5 different gray values so you can see the whole final one. I'm just going a little harder. Basically, it's almost going to be like a solid black when we're finished with it. This is just an example. And as well as you could try this at home, this will be a good practicing for you. All right, coming back a little stronger now. All right, let's clean that up. I get a little eraser, erase that over, and that edge there. All right, now let's begin the next square. Same thing, I begin very light and building on it. I normally would not go solid that color, what I think it is, because you have a hard time backing up. Going forward, meaning going a little darker, a little darker, a little darker, is much easier and less mistakes that you can occur, because you can see the tone much easier. All right, let's go a little bit more, give it a little bit darker. Okay, and when I change direction, it just gives it a little bit more clarity. Finishing, fill up those little gaps. Let's go a little darker, a little more. All right, and finish that one up. Okay, once again, I'm just going to take my little eraser, erase the edges, and there we go, looking good. All right, let's get the third one. Again, I'm pressing very light on the pencil, not putting too much pressure on, because they're actually going to be getting lighter now. It'll go much quicker now, these next 3. All right, just a little tone. As you notice, I put a little pressure on there, not as much. Again, and now I'm coming back again. And just finishing it up there. I'm kind of going by my eye balance. That looks good. Let's erase the outer areas. All right. Now let's finish that second one. This will be a very quick one too, because it's getting lighter, as you can see. All right, a little lighter, and I try to put the same pressure all the time. And that's pretty much it. I clean up the edge, and there we go. Let's just recap what I just did. So within those 5 squares, I created one square, the dark one, and then I made it a little lighter and followed the next one, a little lighter and a little lighter. I just used 5. You could try it and use 10 squares or 20 squares, and it's just a little bit more of a challenge, but I just wanted to give you an overall feel. All right, let's begin our sphere right now. So what I'm going to do first now is begin with an oval in the highlighted area. There we go. Let's get that little light oval right there. That's going to be the shine, where you're going to get most of the hot spot. Now I'm going to begin on the bottom. Just add a little curve when I'm sketching, going a little loosely with it. Just keep on building up on it. That's all. Don't worry about how accurate it is or anything. This is just a little sample, a test, an experiment for yourself to see how you can make this flat sphere three-dimensional when you're just putting a little shading around the area. So I'm just going to be building it around, little left and right, and on the back. So the far bottom right is where it'll be the darkest, ultimately. The same way that we did the gradient above, we're going to be following the same technique with all three of these shapes. All right, so the sphere is a little tricky because it has a curve you want to add to it. You don't want to add a flat sphere. So when I'm shading, I'm kind of giving like a little curve to my pencil to give that indication. If I went straight across, it would be a flat, pretty much flat gradation, but I want to have it looking dimensional. So that's why I'm gradating with a little curve and building upon that right now. All right, let's get a little bit tighter, a little sharper on the tops and the bottom. When the light is hitting in there, a little bit more on the bottom again. And it's just blending it in. It's coming back and going a little pressure at a time. I'm going to go a little heavier now, medium pressure, and putting all the way around, getting the top around. I'm just working it together, working it together. There we go, a little bit better now there. A little bit more still to do, not done. When you'll see, I'll have a real gradated curve to it. You kind of see it playing up right now because I'm putting a little less pressure, but I'm still adding. Okay, let's get the bottom there a little bit darker there, a little darker. There we go. Not done yet. Let's get that whole curvature and blending it in a little bit more. Kind of looks like a ball that has a whole bunch of strings tied around it. All right, let's get the center part. So what you'll see is I'll start like on a little bit on the one edge, one on the other edge, and then I'll blend it in the middle. Now I'm just getting a little light tone underneath there, blending it in. There we go. Going to work on the top again. All right, let's get the middle now a little bit, blend the two together. So I'm blending the left and right that I just was working on, and then that bottom part. So I'm just going to do a quick little oval in the middle. There we go. Working on where that highlight is. That white spot in the middle will be white. That's where the light is shining directly on. There we go. Looking good right now. Still just a little bit more, little here and there. We're just fine tuning it right now, basically, so that it kind of blends in there. And believe it or not, you can even take your finger and blend it, kind of like use your finger as a smudging tool. That'll be another lesson. But right now I'm just using the pencil and by pressure and just blending it together, pulling it together. Almost done. Almost there. A little bit more here, a little bit more light. Medium tone. Let's get that a little bit darker there on the edges. All right. So, all right, I think we're done. So this is just to give you an example of how to shade in a sphere that was flat to make it look three-dimensional. All right, let's begin our next shape. In this case, it's going to be the cone. I'm going to begin with a line in the middle. And then that's just going to be indicating where the highlight is going to be basically stopping. So let's begin. As you notice, I'm staying very close to the top and going wider on the bottom. There's a point to give that three-dimensional effect. And the reason is because it flares out. So if I kept it equal, it'll be flat. So the top part of the little cone there, I'm going to be using the most lines there. And you'll see it blending across. There you go. So to make sure that you're getting that three-dimensional effect, let's not go too hard on the pressure and just build up and just slightly go. Again, there you go. That's kind of giving that effect right now. We're just about halfway done. This one's a lot easier than that sphere. The sphere is tricky and the cube is the easiest one really. But let's go a little shade there. Let's work on that. The tricky part with this is just making sure that you have that angle and how you spread it all the way around that flare. So let's erase a little bit better, see how that's coming along. All right, that looking good. Good, I like that. Let's just do a little tidy up a little bit more. Let's get a little bit more gradating right there, a little bit more pressure. Just to give that little flare some more. There we go, a little bit more in the middle. Working on the bottom now. Okay, this is just to give you a practice when you're shading and thinking objects and shapes. In this case, this little cone here is a nice little sample one. Looking good. All right, I think we're done with this one. All right, our next gradating shape we're going to be working on is the cube. So let's get ready for this one. I'm going to work on the far left side right now. And I'm just going to be really go like a medium tone. And don't worry if you go over it, because we'll erase those lines before continuing as well. I'm just going back and forth right now and building up the darkness right now. And I'm going to go a little bit heavier from the far right of that side and just go a little lighter to give some tone to it. So I'm not going to be making it solid color. There's still a little gradation on that side you can get. All right, that looking good right now. Okay, let's check it out a little bit more. Let's take out the eraser and erase the top and bottom there, and then we can work on the right side now. Now this side is the back side of the cube, so it will be much darker. And you can always go back to that first side that we worked on if we don't like what we did when you're finishing it up. So it doesn't mean it's complete. You can always go back and rework it, making it darker. Remember, it's always easier to go darker in this case than lighter. You could erase it, but let's not try to do it that way. Let's try to think light and build up when you're shading. All right, so I'm just making it a little harder and harder. And as always, don't worry about the lines overlapping, because all that I'm going to do there is I'm going to erase them afterwards. And then we're going to just finish this one up. There we go, a little darker. Coming back again. Let's get the bottom and the top a little bit more. Okay, let's get a little darker. A little bit more. Yeah, there we go. That's better. That's looking much better right now. Okay. And then we can add the lightness into there too. Okay, let's get the erasing the top part pretty soon. Okay, there we go. Looking good. All right, let's get the eraser. Erase the top there. Erase the bottom. It's looking good. Okay, we completed that one. All right, in this next part of our lesson, we're going to be doing a simple shadow underneath all three of them, the sphere, the cone, and the cube. So in the sphere right now, I'm just going to create like a little light oval to indicate where the shadow possibly could fall into. As you notice, a little off-centered because the light is hitting more on the left, pushing the shadow. Likewise with the cone, it's pushing it and dragging it all the way there, and as well as the cube right now. I'm just creating the area where I'm going to be shading it in there. So let's begin with the sphere. I'm going to go very light on the far left, and then I'm going to get darker on the right side. Again, same thing. Just building it up and getting a little bit darker, putting more pressure on the pencil. It's all pressure, a little lighter and then a little heavier on the pencil. Just to give that illusion of a shadow right there. I'm just creating a little outline there, a little bit more. All right. And putting more pressure there. There we go. I like that. And there we go. There's a darker in the center, directly below. It's very, very dark. All right, so let's work on the cone right now. So as we build this up there, I'm going to be starting light again, that medium pressure, and working my way all the way across. And this is like that old lesson that I shared many times when we're doing our cartoons. It's like those speed lines. And don't worry about if you're going outside the shadow line again now, because you can always take your eraser and lightly erase it. Okay, let's get a bit there. In this case, what we're doing is going to be really dark in the closer spot, and it's going to be a little lighter from the distance. That is because the main object is on the bottom and it gets thinner on the tops. So it's not going to be too dark at the far base, all far away, but the closer to the cone will be much darker. All right, that's looking good. I'm liking that one right now. All right, so we're working on the next one right now. We're going to work on the square. All right, let's get that little shading. The same thing. It's going to start with just an overall base sketch on there. There we go. Okay, and then I'm getting a little bit darker and a little darker again. And the closest part to this shape of the cube will be the darkest, and it goes out lighter and lighter and lighter. Less pressure or wider. There we go. All right, looking good. Yeah, I'm just going to clean up the little square edges right there. A little bit more. All right. Well, that completes this lesson, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching this video. Check us out on Facebook, that's JMG Studio, and on our Instagram account, that's JMG Studio Cartoon. Oh, hey! I hope you enjoyed our video today, and make sure you hit the subscribe button, because then you can see all our old videos as well as the new ones that are coming up. Alright, thanks a lot. Take care.